In today's presentation, we're going to look at helping the LLM with context by giving it memory capability. But before we make a start on that, let's highlight the problem. Highlight the issue. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock.
Yes, that's a line from a popular nursery rhyme called Hickory Dickory Dock. The mouse runs up the clock in this rhyme, which is often used as a tool for teaching children the concept of time. Would you like to know more about nursery rhymes or something else?
Could you tell me the next verse?
Of course, I'd be happy to help. However, I need to know the context. Which verse are you referring to? Please provide more details so I can assist you accurately.
So here the issue is highlighted. The large language model has no context. It even mentions so itself. And the reason it has no context is because it has no memory.
I'm here to help. You're correct, that is a large language model. I don't have the ability to maintain a persistent context or memory between conversations. My responses are based on the immediate input I receive. I can still provide useful and relevant information, but I don't have personal knowledge or the ability to recall previous interactions.
Well, that was a surprise. I didn't expect to have help, but there you go. It even confirmed itself. Or I should say, the large language model confirmed itself. So now that we have highlighted the problem, we should also understand what context and memory actually are. Context in LLMs refers to the information that is immediately available to the model. This includes the text input provided to the model for processing, i.e. the prompt. The model then uses this as context to understand what is being asked or discussed and to generate relevant and coherent responses. Memory in LLMs, on the other hand, refers to the model's capacity to retain and use information over time. In summary, the context is the immediate information provided to an LLM for generating responses, whilst memory in LLM refers to the accumulated knowledge from the conversation so far. In the next step, we're going to look at adding memory of the conversation so that the LLM can answer in context. Additionally, we will ensure that both the user's and LLM's messages are clearly visible in the UI. And finally, when this has all been done, we will revisit the initial highlighted issue and confirm that it has been addressed. To accomplish our goal, we shall update both the server and client sides. First of all, on the server, we define the conversational history as a list of messages, with the message having the properties role and content, the role indicating who is speaking and the content of what has been said. The full structure is an array of messages representing the conversational history so far. On the say it route, we have updated the argument to take an array rather than just the string. Other than that, the code remains fundamentally the same. Now switching to the client side, so we need to find index.html. Okay, so you can see here that we have changed the div which held the messages to hold a list of messages, and the list of messages will be both for the user and for the LLM, and we will distinguish those messages using CSS. This will allow us to prefix each message with LLM for the LLM and, strangely enough, user for the user. Okay, we also need to initialize our message array, which will hold our conversational history, and you can see that we've initialized it here with a system message. This will help guide the format, but we will use this message array to add our messages from the user and also from the LLM. so that there will be a memory of the conversation. Okay, so what we need first of all is to see where the user is going to finish speaking, which is on the listener on result function. And when the user has actually said something, which is in this word spoken, we will add those words spoken to the conversational history, and then we will show the words spoken onto the UI. So if we look at the add message function, you can see it's simply just pushing what they've said plus their role onto the message array. And underneath we have the show message, which basically gets a reference to our list. We create an LI element, we set its content to what has been spoken, the class name becomes the role of the speaker, and then we push that message onto the UI. Okay, so that basically deals with the user. Next we need to look at doing for the LLM. So if we look underneath here, we've got the get LLM response, and what we've done, rather than just take the words which were spoken by the user, we're passing the full context or the message array to the server, to the LLM, and we do that here by passing the body content to the say it function, which we just updated earlier. And then going down a little bit lower, we can see that when the LLM responds, we add their response to the message conversation as we did for the user, and in the same way we then add the what they've said to the UI. Okay, that's it. Let's see it in action. So let's start with our Hickory Dickory Dock. Hickory Dickory Dock.
Sure, I'd be happy to help. The nursery rhyme Hickory Dickory Dock is an enjoyable and traditional English song, often used in children's games and literature. It describes a mischievous mouse running up the clock, featuring rhythmic patterns and playful language.
Can you tell me the whole verse?
Of course, the most commonly known verse of Hickory Dickory Dock is, Hickory, Dickory, Dock, the mouse ran up the clock struck 1, the mouse ran down, Hickory, Dickory, Dock.
Is there a second verse?
There isn't a universally accepted second verse to Hickory Dickory Dock in traditional nursery rhymes. However, some variations or extensions of the rhyme may include additional verses created by individuals or groups for fun or educational purposes. Here's one example. Hickory, Dickory, Dock, the clock struck 2, the mouse said goodnight, I'll see you in the morning. Hickory, Dickory, Dock. Please note that this second verse is not part of the original rhyme and may vary depending on the source.
Next week I'm going to Paris.
That's exciting. Paris is a beautiful city full of history, art, and culinary delights. I'm sure you will have a fantastic time. Let me know if you need any recommendations for places to visit, attractions, or cafes. Have a great trip.
Where would be nice to go?
Paris enjoys a temperate oceanic climate, so it is a wonderful destination all year round with distinct seasons. If you're interested in experiencing pleasant temperatures, fewer tourists, and colorful scenery, I would suggest visiting in the spring, March to May or autumn, September to November. In spring, you can enjoy beautiful blooming flowers, while in autumn, the city turns golden with changing leaves and hosts many events related to fashion and arts. Of course, if you prefer warmer weather and more time outdoors, visiting during the summer, June to August, can be a great option, but expect larger tourist crowds. Ultimately, whenever you decide to visit, you'll find something exciting and enchanting about Paris in every season.
Which of those would you recommend?
I recommend visiting Paris in the spring, March to May, as it is a wonderful time to explore the city. The weather starts getting warmer, and there's a more relaxed and vibrant atmosphere in the air. During this time, you'll experience blooming flowers, gardens coming to life, and fewer tourists than in summer. Visiting in the early spring also allows you to enjoy attractions with smaller crowds, comfortable temperatures, and lower accommodation costs. Cherry blossoms and magnolia trees add a stunning touch of beauty throughout Paris and the surrounding parks. Overall, I believe spring offers the perfect balance between comfortable weather and a magical ambience in the City of Light. However, your preferences might differ, so feel free to consider the other seasons based on your specific interests.
So there you have it. The difference speaks for itself. By adding a message array to maintain a record of our conversational history, we have essentially given the LLM memory and helped it to reply in context. Happy chatting!